This is game 6 of a 6 games match played against the same opponent. In the first 5 games, my opponent lost always for the same basic reasons of giving material in the opening, of not playing good defensive move, of not having a plan. And in the 5th game, he had multiple chances of winning that I gave him, and he couldn't take any of them. Including some very basic rook endgame win. So in this game, he plays e4, g6, knight f3, bishop d7, standard opening. Here I tickle the pawn on d4 and ask him the question, what do you want to do? My threat is e5, the next move, and he decides to push. Now, what that does is, first of all, it opens an attack on the b2 pawn, but also it enables the maneuver of knight here, pawn a5, and knight to c5. So, knight back, knight here. Here, instead of doing the maneuver that I just indicated with the f5 pawn and the knight here, or I could play the knight here directly, I prefer to castle first, and the use of this knight is to prevent the push here on e5 by white. b4. Now, that's a very silly move, very weakening. It loses immediately to knight takes e4. But instead of playing that, I just went for something else to see what it's going to actually play. So I played this, trying to invite b5, which will totally mess up his game. Instead, he plays bishop out, which is a good move because now this no longer works. And pardon me, and then I just castled. Castle, take, just b6. Now, in these type of positions, the counterplay for white usually comes from pushing c5, and here, well, we know it's not going to happen. The moves that Black is playing are not very good, and they're just average moves. And it says a lot about the way my opponent plays. He's just not in the game. Now, this is a good move because it attempts to get rid of his weakness, his isolated pawn on the a file. Knight here, inviting him to take. Now, if he goes here, it gets a little bit messy because I could take this way, and if it captures in the center, it's kind of a little bit risky for him because I could, if I played knight takes e4, he would play knight c6, so that wouldn't be good. But I have intermediate moves like queen d6. It's probably a better bet for him to take on c5. And I also contemplated the idea of taking this way and then piling up on this pawn. Instead, he withdraws the bishop, and that's the usual giveaway. Freebie in the opening. And now he ends up taking on c5, allowing me to recapture, so I don't have to deal with the issue of double pawns one way or the other. Queen d2. Here, seal this square. I prevent him from pushing to get rid of his weak pawn on the a file. This is a good move because there's no bishop that can come and kick the rook, and also should he maneuver here and there, I would simply take. And then, of course, in the meantime, play moves like this, queen here or queen there, and then put the other rook behind, and the pawn is lost. He moves the knight on the king side. What for? Well, I don't know. Knight here, I just exchange, push, goes back. And now he's basically conceding that he's lost the A pawn. I don't yet take it. I want to do that in my own terms. And I'll just push forward. Queen here, I just oppose the queens. He exchanges, which is, well, what else can he do? Knight here, so he finally arrives on this square to realize that it just does absolutely nothing. What is he threatening? Nothing. Well, it's a very good outpost, but doesn't do anything at all. So he goes back. That's his way of defending the c4 pawn. Instead of putting a rook behind, which would have been slightly better, just move the king. And try to dislodge the knight, the knight moves there, and finally take the pawn. He goes there, just a rook down, and the final blunder. Take, and that's the final collapse and the end of the match.